Oh, good day. We're coming before you here, part of the logistics department, and presenting you another safety slide presentation. And this one's on trailer safety. This is important to just about every aspect of disaster relief. Let's just pray right here. Lord, we just pray that we might have a year that we can stand up and be counted, just to give hope to those who have no hope, just in a physical sense, but also in a spiritual sense. We ask this in Jesus' name, amen. And with this, we are ambassadors through Christ. As an ambassador, we have to present ourselves in the likeness of Christ, his best. And when we go out to a call out, whether it be small or big, we need to put our best foot forward. And this means being well prepared, ready with all our equipment, and ready to serve without interruption. If we don't have our proper preparation done, we'll never get there in one piece. And trailer safety is extremely important. We all use trailers. It's also on a convoy going to an incident. Probably the number one problem getting there comes up with the trailer problem. There's many aspects of the trailer that we need to look at. Right here, we're going to start with weights and balancing. Extremely important. We have all sizes of trailers geared for all kinds of tasks. Our shower units, we have our DR units, we have supply units, our kitchens. Each one is individually made for a certain task and has their own requirements. But in general, keeping that within the proper weights and having it balanced is an absolute necessity. Along with that, the other half of it is our tow vehicles. Know what our tow vehicles are capable of pulling. If you know, at the warehouse, we have our 350s, 450s, we have our 550s. These are designed to carry heavy loads, the heavier ones especially. When we go out on a call out, if you think you can jump in a quarter-ton pickup, a 150, a 1500, something like that, you got to think again. If it's just for you and your crew, a little bit of luggage, well, that's fine. But if you're going to be pulling something, that's not okay. Inside the doors, we can find our tow vehicle information on what can your vehicle tow. If you look on the vehicle data plate, there's a couple of them. One addresses tires and one addresses the actual truck ratings. We have our gross vehicle weight, and that's the maximum weight. And don't take it lighthearted. Like, well, yeah, we're so what? We're 500, 600 pounds over. It'll carry it. Well, it might, but it might not. And then again, we still have to obey a lot of the rules and laws of the roads. And depending on what you're pulling, you're going to have to go through a DOT scale. And they don't close their eyes. They say, look, you're overweight, you're overweight. So we need to look at that. Look at each axle rating. And you can find this. Look for your tires. Everything is found right on the doors. We look here at one example, and it tells us the weights. You can look at it real quick, and you can tell that this isn't a light pickup, but it's a heavier pickup, and it can carry some weight. A gross vehicle weight, that's what, 10,000 pounds. That's pretty good. But you can also tell it's got the corresponding tires. We'll be looking at tires a little bit later. Um, well, you can even look at it and see the rim sizes and that. I mean, everything's on there. You can tell what year the truck was made in. It's right there. Here's one of the tires, the PSI, front, rear. You can tell this is a quad cab truck and total seating capacity 6. Okay, jump into the trailers. Right on normally the driver's side front is a trailer data plate. Now it could be a flatbed and they're still there. It doesn't matter, the trailer. And you need to look at that carefully and see what it says and abide by it. We have it here in the next slide, that blow up there. Look at the gross vehicle weight, 7,000 pounds. That's the maximum that trailer is designed to carry. And that is very typical of a tandem axle that we're towing. You need to keep within that. It's a struggle because you have your generator, your pressure cleaner, chainsaws. You get some shovels and this, and maybe some Roundup, maybe some tarps. I mean, that weight comes up really quick. And then you have to say, hey, we're starting our trip. We got all this gear. Let's throw everybody's gear in the trailer. Well, be careful with that, because that can put you overweight real quick. When you're considering a trailer, consider this. Of course, a lot of us already have the trailer, so we have to keep within our numbers. But if we're in the opportunity of purchasing one, look what it's designed to and keep within the design configurations. If it's just a cleanup recovery trailer, it's generally good to keep it under 16 feet. 16 feet. After that, you get in these tight spots and it becomes harder to maneuver. Just here, gives you a chart of just options and stuff. But consider also this is real important. Maybe not the best slide for it, but when you're running around town, you got maybe a lawn business, a construction business, whatever, or just a house trailer. You have certain things you're doing, weights and stuff you're carrying. You might be going over carrying more and never have a problem. And of course, how far are you going? 20, 30 miles? Well, we get out on a call out, we're not going 20, 30 miles. We're going 200, 300, 1,000 miles. You put that long run on the road, and it makes a big difference on the duty rating of your trailer. Make sure that we are within the duty rating that the trailer requires. With the trailers, again with the balance point, you have that right between your tandem axles. And then that's hooked up, and then it pivots around that front axle. When you look at it, the trailer and the truck should be level or slightly higher on the hitch end. This one there, it's questionable. And in fact, if you really look at it hard, you can see it's a little heavy on the hitch end. It should be adjusted. He'll laugh. And here we have a lopsided trailer. We can all laugh and look, but you know what? That's not far from the truth. If we close our eyes and load these up, we could be looking at some really nasty stuff in a hurry. This is a good picture. I almost wanted to find another one I think I have of a trailer just outside of Panama City I found on the road, or in a similar condition. And what happens is you have to have your balance point in your trailer balanced. You need to have 60% of your weight on the front of that trailer. If you have the reversed 60% on the back, that trailer will get bouncing and it will steer that truck right off the road. That's not a maybe. That's a guarantee. That load ratio is extremely important. You have a light front end of your trailer, and it's destined for disastrous consequences. The trailer outside of Panama City I saw was a toy trailer. Some big old toy in the back of it, nothing in front of it, and that thing just took that truck. It was up over a concrete barrier between the highway, and the trailer was just in total pieces. Um, we do not want to end up on that, so you really need to pay attention to how you load them. And this means loading everything. Um, Here we can have a graphic picture. You have those two blue lines. You know, you look at your empty trailer, keep that in mind. Those blue lines are the front and the back of your tandem wheels, or single wheel if that's all you have. Those are lighter trailers, and you need to keep a lighter load in them accordingly. Now, if you have like some heavy items, they should be placed right between those for the best ride. Still keeping in mind, though, that your total weight of 60% from the center is in the forward. Not sure? Hey, you know, you have these truck stops on the road, and they're not just for the semis, the big trucks. They're for you too. It's real easy. You just go onto the CAT scale. They got a little speaker there, and they'll ask you for your truck number. You give them your DR trailer number, or just give them, you know, a number 10 or something if you don't know right off the hand. They'll ask you first way or second way. You just say first way. Truck and trailer. Make sure you stop. They have three different divisions on the scale there. Put your front tires on the first one, the back tires on the second. Make sure your trailer hits that last one, and you'll get three different weights: your steer axle, your drive axle, your trailer axle, for a total weight. And if we look carefully on this here, you see that comes out to 16,560. That is a healthy amount to be carrying around with a pickup truck. Put that in perspective. You have a big old semi truck, and unloaded, they're heavy. How heavy? If you doubled that weight, you'd have a semi truck. So just keep that in mind. You're driving around half a semi truck with all that weight. Consider your stopping distance, your turns. You need to really you know, keep in mind there's a lot of mass there. It doesn't stop easy. You need to be careful. We have another example here. This is more realistic. You know, I would wager to say that's well within the range of what most of a cleanup recovery trailer would be. And again, another reason why we never want to use a light pickup truck for towing our trailers is not just the weight they can carry and everything, but the braking system. It's a big difference. And the heavier trucks have more substantial brakes, which can help when they have to stop. Very important. Here, another example. This is a flatbed. Not one of our trucks, but if you look at it, and it's all done up nice, got nice straps on everything. However, when we're putting stuff on the trucks and trailers, we need to keep in mind of how much do these weigh. A pallet of water. You're looking at a good 2,800 pounds on one pallet. Go do the math. Figure out what four of them are. You're going to find you can come up overweight real quick. Food would be about 1,800. Depends on what you have. Try to go tarps or fern strips. you're going to find that these weights increase quickly. Know your weights. If you're not sure, stop at the scales and tell. On the front of your receiver there, or the hitch there, is this data. Make sure that that matches what your trailer is, or stronger. And it's also right in here. It's engraved on it. I'll tell you what, this is very typical. They're not easy to read, but it's there. More often, you can identify each one by the way it is as to what class it is. Here it says it's a class 4. That's an important number there. And it's all the 2 5/16 hitch. That's really what we really need to have, at least on our trailers. Make sure the coupler, the tow ball, everything matches. So important. The other thing is, what type of hitch do we have? You know, we have our safety chains, everything easy, secured, locking. They really emphasize too that where we can, put a little padlock on. It just ensures nothing will come off, and also that no one will mess with it. We live in a world today where things are not as seen as seemingly as calm as what they used to be, and we need to use good judgment on keeping everything safe there. We got different tow bars to adjust everything to the right height. Now, there's a whole variety, up and down. They have a bunch, and it's so important that we keep our trailer level or slightly above level. And this is how we do it. I like the next one here, though. Oops. The hitch here. This hitch here, look at it. You can adjust it up and down. It's solid metal. It's not hollow. Some of these receivers here are made for, I don't know, pulling, you know, a measly 1,000-pound trailer with load on it. And there's no way we're going to do that. Everything is much heavier. Make sure that it's solid metal, that it's in good order. There's no cracks or anything in it. If you can tell too, besides the solidness of it, it's got that angle iron back to really keep it in place. It's important that we look and maintain it. You don't think they can fail? Well, I'll tell you what. I've seen them shear right off the back of a truck because the weight was too much on the trailer. It happens. And that was with DR trailers. Take a look at the bolts there. If you look at it really closely, where that blue arrow is, you can see there's a couple notches. Actually, there's 3 notches. That indicates the grade of metal that bolt is made of. If you go to your big box stores and buy a bolt, you know, hey, I need something for my hitch here to make everything work nice, they're going to sell you basically cheap metal that'll shear in a heartbeat. You don't want that. Those 3 notches indicates that it's a medium grade strength shear, which is okay. If you can find it, they have one that has 6 notches. That's really a high strength, and that's even better. The addition, if you look right behind, underneath the arrow at that next one, you have a Nylox nut on there. Important. You don't want to use something that's going to vibrate off on a long distance. You want those in there secured and to the right height. Again, here we have a truck and trailer, and keep in mind that the back axle of the truck is kind of a fulcrum point where everything seesaws around. And look at this trailer. It's on a little bit of a hill there, so don't be deceived. That front of that trailer is low. It should be higher. Look at that. I mean, you might look at it and say, hey, that looks pretty good. Be picky. You know, it saves time and money to be picky. The other thing is as you're turning with these vehicles, keep in mind that in the middle of those tandem axles on that trailer, especially if it's a bigger one, this one tows, you know, pretty close, but on the larger ones, they will go inside of your truck tire. You're making a sharp curve and you're right up on the edge of the road. That trailer is going to be running off the road because that's where it's turning. So you really need to be careful with that. We get into our electrical connectors. This is something where they say do not use a 4 to a 7. Well, that's total ridiculous. Why? Because with your 7 wire trailer plug, you have brakes, and brakes on the trailer are so important. With a you know, we say heavy, but it's not really heavy load. Just with a loaded trailer in the range that we always carry, brakes on the trailer stop your braking distance by a huge amount. They're very important. There's 2 types. You have your hydraulic and your electric. Some of them do have that surge hydraulic, which are okay, but as you get into your heavier class trailers, the surge brakes are not DOT approved. So if you can go to the wire trailer kind, that is a much better choice. You also have more control because on all your tow vehicles that are equipped to tow those, you have an adjustment as far as how hard or soft your trailer brakes. And as you leave, you need to just kind of tap on the brake a little bit and see, well, is the trailer pulling me or am I holding up the trailer? You need to have it so that it's even, so that the trailer and truck come on and brake at a compatible braking force, not one overdrive the other. And it's one side of your 7 plug connector, and here's the female end, beyond the trailer. Now they talk about cleaning it out, keeping it secure and all that. That's just real important. Well, I found out one other thing which may make your head bob up and down, get all excited. Take some electrolyte grease on it and put it on there, designed for making a much better electrical connection. I'll tell you what, I tried that on one trailer that was always giving me a little problems with not braking consistently. That solved that in a heartbeat, I'll tell you. Never a problem again after that. It's just all in the connection. And but important to consider. I would highly recommend you do that to all. You'd be real surprised with the results. On your 4 plug connector, you shouldn't even have. They're just used on the real light trailers, and I don't really think there's any that we have that are that light. Be prepared to have trailers with brakes. Getting hitched here. Oh, we got this. They say ensure the coupler latch is open to allow it to sit on. Well, you know what? That's easier said than done. This is one type of heavier hitch, but there's lots of other kinds out there. Some slide, especially with the 7,000 pounds trailers, you're going to find there's a whole variety. You get into your 10,000 pound, and they go more to this style. But you need to watch and be careful. Know what you have. and make sure that it's latched properly, that it's on the ball, and look. You got to get down there and look. It's well worth it. The other thing is too is when you're done, you need to lock it up. Here they recommend an actual little padlock. Uh, I would recommend buying one for the trailers. If not, a lot of times people put a bolt through there. Um, but you know, the most secure way with the little padlock is that holds it tight and nothing is going to separate it. No one's going to mess with it, which is also a good insurance. This is a good bunch right here. We have a whole variety of things here. They're hooked up, ready to go. You can tell that they really have a good adjustment on that hitch that they got there with the receiver. And they got that adjusted. I'm assuming it's right. You can't tell from this picture. But carefully look how they have each item. The electrical line has enough slack in it so that it can move back and forth and not get hung up when you're turning, but yet not so much that it's going to drag. When you plug it in too, make sure that it locks into place. All of your receivers on your 7 pins, they have a little cap on them, and on the inside of the cap, it locks onto the back of that electrical connector. Make sure it's locked in firmly. You can see in the dark blue, they have a lock on it. Excellent. You know that that's locked and going to stay there. Then you can see they have the chain underneath it. Going to left and right, you can't see whether it's on there, how the hooks are on there. The hooks should be tilted so that they actually come from the underneath the backside and go around it. The whole point there, instead of going over the top, is that if you hit a bump, they're going to bounce up. If they're come like from the back side, they're going to bounce up, they're going to hit that little hook, and they're not going to go anywhere. The chain is crisscrossed the way it should be. And you can see that it's not twisted, but held up by a bungee cord. Now that's the proper way of doing it, that bungee cord holding it up. If you twist that chain all up to shorten it, if it would the trailer come loose, that chain would be weak, and they would snap a lot quicker than if it was straight out the way it's supposed to be. If you look in the light blue there, you can see there's a couple of them there. You can see where the emergency brakes on the trailer are hooked up to. Now, this is important that you don't go around the safety chain, but you go around some other solid structure on the back, and that it's also shorter than your chain, so that if something happens, it locks the brakes up, and then it falls as the chain crisscrosses into a little handle there, a bucket there, catch for the end of the trailer. This is the safest way that you can hook them up. And again, every little facet you hook up, you check. Your clearance lights, they are sometimes not there, like we have here. Did you know that that is a ticket item? DOT states that all your lights, whether they're extra lights even, if they're not in operating condition, they can ticket it for you. Your covers there, you should all have your amber in front, your red to the rear of your axles. And again, make sure that they're all functioning and functioning correctly. Now, this is something that should be done. Oh goodness, we're coming up on the summer, and it should be done, beginning of hurricane season, ready for anything that might go out. It's hard to say a season though. It's been a weird year with flooding and lots of other things, tornadoes. You just need to be on it all the time so that you're ready to go anytime. After all the connections are made, we're back to this truck again. What do you do? Well, pat yourself on the back. Everything's there. You checked off your lists. You got it hooked up. You're ready to roll. You stop. You could even have the truck on. Get that cab cooled down. And then what are you going to do? Well, you're going to turn on your lights, your blinkers. Check. Is everything working? Yes. Oh, great. Walk around it. And they have a system in here. They're using a buddy system, making it quicker. Well, yes and no. Especially for checking the lights and stuff, a buddy system works fantastic. But it is still the driver's responsibility to make sure that everything is secure. The load inside the trailer, is it all bungeed and strapped down correctly? Is all the couplers, is it all connected correctly? Yes. You see, you got a spare tire. It's there. Good. Great. Check around, look, and make sure that it's all set. Then you can proceed. Then what do? Well, it's generally a rule of thumb when you're driving, when you got loads that you're carrying. After like your first half hour, 30 miles, you stop and look at everything. Go around, check your bungees, check your straps. And I'm willing to bet, especially if you got a flatbed and stuff strapped to it, you're going to find some of those straps loose. That's a guarantee. Tighten them up. And then after that, every time you stop, gas, pit stop, whatever, you need to walk around, check everything, tighten up the straps. They'll find the next time you stop after that first time, you'll tighten them up a little bit more. And then whether it be 300 or 1,000 miles, you'll find it stays pretty well afterwards, but check. You never know what's going to happen. Here, we're going to move on one thing I've kind of skipped was tires. Tires is extremely important. Tires, the number one trailer, and I don't want to say truck failure while you're going on a call out. You get into these convoys and it's not, it's almost not like, hey, are we going to get there without a flat? It's like, who gets the flat first? Which is a bad way of looking at it. But I'll tell you, with our attention to everything and the detail the last few years, our failure rate has greatly improved. And this is why this is out here, so that we can improve it even further. The reasons for failure: number one, dry rot. These trailers are sitting for a long time a lot of places, and dry rot is a real factor. The other thing is tire pressure. Tire pressure is so important. This isn't just kicking the tires and saying, yeah, they're good. Get out the gauge and check it. The other thing is age. We don't use the trailers every day, and hey, they look good, but how old are they? No, we're gonna check up on that, because that is not okay. We go up to the cab of the truck. Let's see what it is. We go up to the back of the trailer, and they will tell us what our tire pressures are supposed to be. Get out the gauge and look. It says 75. Oh, we got 71 in it. Take the time and bring it up exactly where it belongs. Or if the front has 68 on it, drop it down. Keep it to exactly where it needs to be, because this will make a difference. The other thing here, you get on, look on your tire. On your tire has all the information and more information than you can ever need. We can make a whole presentation of just what's on those tires. But there's certain things we need to be careful of. For one thing, we have a P rating, which is this tire in the yellow has. It's a passenger vehicle. We don't really want that on our trucks. Normally what we would take is an LT, light truck. And then you also, on a trailer, you can get an ST, a specialty trailer. They're good. I actually have light truck tires on all my trailers, and really, you know, you have to go by what the tire is designed for, and what's going to hold your load the best. We go in here too, you're probably familiar with your load range. You know, that is directly determined by your ply rating. And then with the extra ply on your loads and stuff, you have an increase in your air pressure. On all our trucks being used, I would recommend at least an E. That's probably the most you're going to be able to get on most of your trucks, and it's pretty healthy. On our trailers, well, some of the 15-inch rims, they don't offer an E range. You know, you can look. It depends on your tire dealer. D if it's 65, check the maximum load. More important though, almost than that. Well, that's, you know, each of these items are so important, is the manufacturing date. Well, let me go back here. On this right here, under your P, says P225 60 R16. So the rim is 16 inches, which is pretty big on I guess that's all today's cars. But if you look down very softly, you'll see it says DOT, some numbers, letters. That is an important area, because we come up here, and this is a bad example because the DOT, if you look on the far left, it says DOT, but some of it's missing. That's that same marking. And they tell you what it is. It says the plant, the tire size, there's an optional code, what make, Michelin. But then look, the manufacturer date. I would encourage you all after this that you look on your DR trailers and see what that manufacturing date is. They do it a little differently than it's not, you know, the third day or third month of the 04 would be the year. They go by week. So the first two, it'd be the third week. That's still in January. And it goes all the way up to 52. So it's the third week of 04, which was quite a while ago. How long do trailer tires last, or tires period? Well, the manufacturer guarantees 5 years. Normally, that's what they rate them for. After that, you run into their 6th year. You know, you're getting some miles out of it. Normally, with our trailers, they don't go bald. They age out. They dry rot out. You get into that 7th year, and that's where you're going to start running into problems, because there's the interior linings, the rubber, the steel. They're not made to last that long, and they'll get you into trouble. I can even say that from experience on one truck where the tire exploded because the steel rubbed against each other and brought the air temperature up to such a temperature that the whole tire just burst. That was on a big straight truck with flotation tires, and when it exploded, it took out half the front end of the truck. I mean, it was, you know, you don't want to mess with these. No, they're put there for safety. And when we go on these convoys to things and tires start popping, if you really look, it's more than just the tire popped. There's a reason why. And these are the reasons that we're presenting here. The other thing is we go park our trucks and, yep, they're parked. Well, we want to be picky. I mean, this isn't really a show car that we're going to take down and polish and have waxed and everything. But then again, if we started off here, we're ambassadors of Christ. So we want to give our best presentation. We need to take care of our equipment. And here they even recommend putting your tires up on a board with chocks just to keep uneven stress points on the tires. Make sure when you store them, they're at the right pressure. That's another item too. Also look at your UV. Well, that can deteriorate. That can introduce dry rot. Cover them. Cardboard, and that's kind of, as long as they sit, that's not going to be pretty good. Get some plywood. Make a little bit. It's worth the money. And we all do this because we want to get there safe. We don't want to have a trailer we have to go back and pick up on a flatbed left somewheres on the road. That's no fun, and that a lot of manpower and everything else to take care of that when that happens. As you can see here, here's an uncared for tire. Don't ever let them get to like this. This is about the extreme I could find, and it is in sad shape. This is on an actual trailer. You just shake your head and you wonder, how could someone do that? But people do. Which things will fail, even though we take care of them. We have emergency stops. Part of the trailer is stopping, for emergencies. And how do we do that safely? Well, there's definite guidelines to think of. First, get off as far from the traffic lane as possible. I might even, if the ground looks a little bit pretty firm, I might even go on the ground a little bit. Make sure you never get off completely off the road, though. That could be time for a tow out. We don't want to go there. But pull off as far as possible. Look, make sure it's, if possible, straight and in a safe place. Well, you know what? We got nothing but guardrail. Well, don't say nothing but guardrail. This spot is too tight. This isn't really safe. To the extent it doesn't matter if you drive on that tire a little bit more, but you need to pull ahead. Pull ahead beyond that and get off properly. And I would look at this picture and say that, this guy didn't even go ahead far enough. Because you have to consider, especially in a convoy, there's things to do than things you shouldn't do. And we'll show you here in a minute. Stop for 15 minutes or more, you put out your cones. Well, one thing missing in this is other people driving with them. If you're alone, this is the proper way of doing it. But if you're in a convoy, you should always have someone park behind you as a safety. Rather a vehicle get hit than a person. And then you should put the cones behind that vehicle. If you're in a convoy, sometimes these convoys, you can have 2 or 3, you could have, 20, 18. Some of these get big with time everyone gets together and you have this truck and that truck. The real proper way would be have a car behind you, maybe one in front of you, people who can help, and then send the rest to the next rest stop, truck stop ahead, and have them pull in there, refresh themselves, and wait for you to catch up to them. There's variations on this, but this is important. And don't look at it necessarily all the time as, oh man, we really, this is terrible. We're holding up times and stuff. Sometimes it might just be Jesus saying, hey, you need a flat tire. I remember going to Tallahassee one time. We had a large convoy, and It was actually a steer tire on the semi truck that went flat, blew out and shredded. Um, we were there a while getting that thing all fixed up. But in the process, just a few stayed behind, the rest went ahead and went to the next rest stop, and they refreshed themselves and stuff. But some people there were really bright enough and sensitive enough to God's Spirit that they saw someone they needed to share Jesus with. In the process, he came to know the Lord. When we caught up and heard the news, man, great. It was worth changing that tire to have someone come to know him. So, we're out here on a mission, not just to work, but to present, to be ambassadors of Christ. And that's along the way and everywhere we go. So you need to be ready to work, but ready to present Jesus as he really is, and to the people who don't know him. Sorry there. This picture is not a good spot. I mean, that's an understatement. I mean, we just went through a whole bunch of stuff of what to do. You can see everything's wrong. And what gets me is in this next picture, it really isn't much better. You can see they got some cones, but his fanny's still out in that lane. Pull over. There'll be someone else with you. Get them to have a flag, if you have to with the car. Let them warn them, slow down. If you don't have a flag, I mean, you even got your yellow shirts, grab an extra one and get them to slow down, because we don't want an accident. We want everyone to safely get to our destination and equipment in one piece. That's what we're talking about. As we take care of everything, as we go out, we can get to our call out correctly, help those in need, talk to the survivors, and present them with help. I mean, anyone who's been there have seen how just so many times people just break down and cry and are relieved and to have such help. How people come, yes, we need Jesus. I remember even in a DR truck, have someone pull up and honking and waving like crazy and stuff and roll down the window, and they just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. There's many people who really appreciate what we do. And I encourage you to get your equipment ready beforehand. Be picky about it, because it will make a difference. And we end here with Proverbs 3:23. Then you go on your way in safety, and your foot will not stumble. Well, we really pray that this will happen, that we will have a successful time where we might be ambassadors of Christ and present Jesus, our talents, our care for their possessions and their physical needs, food, whatever it might be, but also to present our living Savior. And we thank you and pray that you might have a successful call out.